How are you guys doing? It is Wednesday, October 21st, 2020, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to take you through yesterday's Elite performances along with what to look forward to today. As there's a lot of good soccer to be played today, as well as Game 2 of the World Series. And speaking of the World Series, getting into Game 1 last night, the top seed of the National League, the Los Angeles Dodgers, were able to beat the top seed of the American League, the Tampa Bay Rays, 8-3 to get the first win of the series. I'm looking out to how this game fared. No score. It was a pretty score. It was scoreless through the third. Cody Bellinger hit a two-run home run in the fourth to make it 2-0. After the fifth inning, of course, the Dodgers scored 4 runs. Kevin Kiermaier hit a home run, but at the end of the fifth, it was 6-1. In the sixth inning, the Dodgers scored 2 more runs. These runs coming from a Mookie Betts home run and a Max Muncy double, making it 8-1. In the top of the seventh, Mike Bruce Brasso and Kevin Kiermaier would have a couple of RBIs to bring it to within 5. But of course, the Dodgers would win this game 8-3. Looking at to how the Tampa Bay Rays fared in the first game of this World Series, the loss would go to their starting pitcher Tyler Glasnow, who allowed 6 earned runs in 4.1 innings pitched, striking out 8 batters on the day. And then Fleming would be he'd be their bullpen pitcher who logged in about 2.2 innings and still allowed 2 earned runs in that stretch. Looking at how their offense fared, their left fielder, Manuel Margot, will go 1-for-4 with a run. Their third baseman, Joey Wendell, will go 1-for-4 with a run. Their designated hitter has been going off like crazy. Randy Arozarena will go 0-for-3, but he would walk on the day. Continuing on, their pinch hitter, Mike Brasso, will go 1-for-1 with an RBI. And their center fielder, Kevin Kiermaier, would go 2-for-3 with 2 RBIs and a run. Looking at how the Dodgers fared, the win would go to their goated pitcher, Clayton Kershaw. He is I think he's 1 game away from passing Justin Verlander for the most postseason strikeouts of all time. So, of course, that's a pretty big feat. In this game, he would allow 1 earned run in 6 innings pitched. He only allowed 2 hits. He struck out 8 batters on the day, and, of course, the Dodgers bullpen took care of the rest. And then looking out to how their offense fared, their elite right fielder, Mookie Betts, would go 2-for-4 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his first home run of the World Series this year. Their shortstop, Corey Seager, would go 0-for-2. He walked 3 times and he scored once. And, of course, that was their NLCS MVP. Their third baseman, Justin Turner, would go 1-for-4 as he walked once and he scored once. Their first baseman, Max Muncy, would go 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He hit his first double of the World Series. Their designated hitter, Will Smith, went 1-for-5 with an RBI and a run. Their elite center fielder, Cody Bellinger, who won the MVP last year, he finished 1-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit the first home run of the game, with the first home run of the World Series, like I said earlier. Their second baseman, Chris Taylor, would go 2-for-3 with an RBI, and their pinch hitter, Kike Hernandez, who's been having an incredible playoffs, finished 1-for-2 with an RBI. With this win, the Los Angeles Dodgers now hold a 1-0 series lead over the top seed in the American League, the Tampa Bay Rays, the American League champs. Game 2 will be tonight at 8:08. Blake Snell will be the starter for the Rays as Tony Gonsolin is going to make the start for the Los Angeles Dodgers. This can be a very big game, of course, as the Dodgers are going to try to gain a 2-0 lead, or the Rays could very well even it up here. But with that said, that's what baseball's looking like. And jumping out into the Champions League, because, of course, the Champions League started yesterday, the first day of group stage of the Champions League. And yesterday's matchups were between the teams in Groups E, F, G, and H, as Groups A, B, C, and D are going to face off today. First, starting off in Group E, Krasnodar would end up tying with Stade Rennes, as Rennes they would score a penalty kick in the 56th minute by Garassi, and Ramirez would score for Krasnodar, and both those teams would eventually tie. And then Chelsea and Sevilla, neither team would score, and both those teams would draw. So as of right now, Group E, Krasnodar, Stade Rennes, Chelsea, and Sevilla, they all are sitting at 1 point in the league. Krasnodar and Stade Rennes are sitting at 1 and 2 because each of them have scored a goal. But there's no goal differential amongst them, and all teams in this group are sitting on 1 point. I'm looking at how Group F fared. Club Brugge would end up beating Zenit St. Petersburg 2-1. I actually watched this game. This is a pretty big game, as an own goal from Club Brugge were tied up at 1 after they scored initially, but then they would score in extra time, the 90th minute plus 3. as De Ketelaere would end up giving the Belgian club the 3 points that it needed. And jumping into the other matchup in this group, Lazio from Italy was able to beat Borussia Dortmund, one of the second best team in Germany, 3-1. First Ciro Immobile, who was originally on Borussia Dortmund, he would score the first goal, and then a Borussia Dortmund own goal off of a corner kick would make it 2-1. Erling Braut Haaland, the elite Norwegian striker for Borussia Dortmund, would end up scoring in the 71st minute to bring it down to 2-1. But then Abka would score the goal for Lazio off the assist from Ciro Immobile to help give Lazio 3 points. And looking at how that's going, in Group F, Lazio is sitting on the number one spot with a 2-goal differential, but they have 3 points, just like Club Brugge. And Zenit St. Petersburg and Borussia Dortmund are sitting at the bottom of Group F. Looking at how Group G is faring, first off, Juventus was able to beat Dynamo Kiev 2-0. Alvaro Morata was able to score 2 goals for Juventus to help get. One was a rebound off of a missed goal, and the other one was a header. And of course, with Cristiano Ronaldo out due to COVID, this is a very big win for Juventus. Looking out to the other game in this group, FC Barcelona, of course, their last Champions League game, they got beat 8-2. They ended up beating Ferencváros 5-1, pretty easily, by the way. Their goated forward Lionel Messi would score the penalty kick that started it off. Their young forward from Spain, Ansu Fati, would score the goal in the 42nd minute to bring it up to 2-0. Philippe Coutinho, who was on the Bayern team that won, who came right back to Barcelona, he ended up scoring the third goal. Ferencváros would score on a penalty kick to make it 3-1, but then Pedri and Dembele would score in the final 2 minutes. Despite the fact that PK was red carded and out for the last 22 minutes, Barcelona was able to get the 5-1 win. And looking at how that table's faring in Group G, Barcelona and Juventus are both sitting on 3 points. Dynamo Kiev and Ferencváros are both sitting at the bottom. They neither has a point. But with the 4-goal differential for Barcelona versus the 2-goal differential for Juventus, right now Barcelona is sitting in that one spot at the number one spot in Group G. And looking at how Group H is faring, first RB Leipzig was able to beat Istanbul Basaksehir. Angelino was able to score Angelino was able to score both goals for RB Leipzig in the 16th and 20th minute. And with this, of course, they got their 3 points. And going to the last game of the night, I think was the best game of the day, Manchester United was able to beat PSG 2-1 in a very big game. First, Bruno Fernandes, after retaking his PK, was able to get the first goal of the day. Anthony Martial would score an own goal this would be for PSG after off of Neymar's corner kick. And then Marcus Rashford would end up taking it into his own hands and scoring the goal in the 87th minute to give Manchester United the win. A big win over PSG, the team that ended up as the Champions League runner-up literally 2 months ago, maybe a month ago. But as of right now, that is what Champions League is looking like right now. And then looking forward to today's matchups and looking at how they fare, starting with Group A, because I said it's going to be Group A through Group D. In Group A, the first matchup of the day is going to be between Bayern Munich and Atletico Madrid. Of course, Bayern Munich won Champions League last year, so that's going to be a big game. And of course, Atletico Madrid, with Luis Suarez looking like a completely new team. Of course, a lot to watch from there. FC Salzburg is going to take on Lokomotiv Moscow within that group as well. That's how that's going to fare. That's going to be at 12:55. Bayern Munich, Atletico Madrid is going to be at 3. Jumping down to Group B, Borussia Mönchengladbach is going to face off against Inter at 3 o'clock, but that's going to be after Real Madrid takes on Shakhtar Donetsk. Those are the 4 teams facing off in that table. Jumping down to Group C, FC Porto is going to end up taking on Manchester City at 3 o'clock. Of course, yet another big game because Porto, best team in Portugal. Manchester City, one of, if not the best team in the Premier League. And then you have Marseille versus Olympiacos at 3 o'clock as well. And of course, all those teams sitting in Group C. Last but not least, looking into Group D, Ajax, the team from Amsterdam, is going to take off against Liverpool, the reigning Premier League champs. And of course, Ajax is always good, so that's going to be a big game to watch. And then last but not least, Atalanta is going to take on FC Midtjylland. Yeah, that's gonna be another big game because Atalanta was a team that made a pretty deep run of the Champions League last year. But as of right now, that is what soccer is looking like, especially with the Champions League getting started yesterday. But moving forward, I feel like this is gonna be a very good Champions League season. That coupled on with Game 2 of the World Series should make today a great day for sports. Once again, it is Wednesday, October 21st, 2020, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and this is The Elite. Once again, I want to thank you for listening to all 10 minutes of my piece. I hope all is well, and peace out.